So we're going to heat things up today, get our bodies warm, and then we are actually going to kind of really move into the back today and do some back release and some stress relief for the back. And but we'll start by strengthening the back because you kind of need to do both. So not kind of, you do. So all right, let's get started. So go ahead and get to the end of your mat. Cannot see my head. So sad. All right. And go ahead and roll your shoulders.
These 2 for $6 everyday values. 2 of these for $6 every day.
Take a deep breath up. Woo. And exhale into soft fold. Good. Just begin to round the spine. Come all the way up. Good. And exhale back down. And all the way up. And all the way back down. Bend the knees just like a rag doll over your legs. And come up. Take a breath up with your left arm. Lean to your right, leaning mountain. And make your way over to the other side. Good. Take a breath up. Good. And exhale all the way down, keeping your legs straight. Now, maybe you stop at your shins. Maybe you stop at the floor. We're going to step back with the right foot into high lunge. And set your right hand on the floor and revolve your lunge. Drop into your hips.
There you are, okay.
Good. From here, drop your right knee to the floor and just slide back into your back here. Come forward and unhinge into your kneeling lunge. Good. Exhale. Turn this here into a revolve. Good. Hands to the floor. Take your left leg up to 3-leg dog. Come to downward dog. Give your legs a little pedal there. Good. And come forward into plank. Chaturanga to up dog. And slowly lower that down.
Okay. Now I can hear. Okay.
And now lift into bow. So curl the belly in. Lift the whole body. Good. Now set your hands. We're going to push up to tabletop and go right up into cat stretch. Let the spine round here. You can take this cat stretch and lean back a little bit towards your hips. That's shell pose. Good. Now watch. We're going to walk all the way back down to our belly. Little chaturanga there. Inhale, exhale, and lift. Reset your hands. Come all the way up and just curl up into that cat stretch. And go all the way back down to your belly. And come all the way back up and round. Hello. And one more time, down to the ground. And we're gonna fly. And all the way up, round into that cat stretch. Good. Now take your knees out toward the sides of your mat, toes towards each other. Sit back into your child's pose. While you're in this child's pose, let your shoulders roll back towards your hips. Bring yourself up to tabletop. Good, and we're just going to extend the left arm. We're going to thread the needle. So the goal is to drop the right shoulder to the floor, the hips stay high. If that's too far for you, just set your elbow on the ground. Good, think about breathing deep into the lower back. That's our focus today. And when you're ready, just switch sides. And come all the way back to tabletop. Tuck your feet, lift your hips, and then on your exhale, drive your heels down, downward dog. Let your gaze come forward and step forward with your left leg. Inhale and step in with your right. Find your standing extension, straightening your back like a drink is going to get put on your back. And then exhale and fold. Think about dropping your crown of your head towards your toes. Yes, we tend to look at our feet, but we really want to just let everything hang. So really you should be looking at your knees or past to the bottom of your mat. Bend your knees and unhinge. Come all the way to the top. Exhale into heart center. We're going to do that leaning mountain again. Inhale up to your right. Left arm goes over. And then make your way the other way. And inhale up. Hinge and fold. So that means it's like we've got a back brace on and we're keeping the legs as straight as we can. And then we let the rib cage move down onto the top of the legs. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that your ribs are on your legs. They might be, but they also, it might just be in your imagination, but you could feel where that would go if you could go further. When you're ready, step back with your your left leg. And revolve your lunge. And come up to your high lunge. And just breathe here. Drop your shoulders out of your ears. Good, bring your hands to the floor. Inhale, drop your knee and slide back here. Feel that lengthening of the hamstring, but almost imagine someone pulling on your hips and your back is getting longer. Untuck your chin. And then slide forward, big breath up into kneeling lunge. Really try to push forward into your hips. We need to relax the hip flexors when we're working on our lower back, because that actually, the piriformis and the supraspinatus, it actually wraps from the hip flexor back to your spine, so they're connected. And then add your twist here. Good, hands to the floor. Lift your right leg into your three-leg dog. Push your heel down. Just find the length of your spine here up through your right heel. And then come to your downward dog. Find your plank. Drawing those elbows towards each other. And now chaturanga to up dog. So it's very common for someone who has a lot of lower back tension to also have very tight hips. And I don't mean the back of your hips, although that too, but the front of your hips. Good, here we go. Lower this down. Pull everything in off the floor and lift into your bow. So find the strength here, but also find the stretching through the front of your body. And now we go up to tabletop and then inhale up into your cat stretch. Really taking the spine in the opposite direction. Walk it down. And on your exhale, lift. And set it, come up to tabletop. Inhale and curl. And come down. And everything lifts. And everything comes up to tabletop. Big breath up into your cat stretch. Remember, you can also lean that back into shell. And come all the way back down. Last time, up into your bow. And up into your cat stretch. And then let your knees widen out to the edges of your mat, toes towards each other. Now really sit the hips back and let the heart drop toward the floor into your child's pose. Good, bring yourself to tabletop. This time we'll thread the needle to our right first, so your left shoulder down. Extend your right arm and exhale. Drop your left shoulder to the ground. Really breathe into this rotation into your lower back. And just with your own breath, make your way the other way. And reset to your tabletop. Tuck your toes. And up we go to downward dog. Good. Lift your gaze and bend your knees slightly. Take your right leg forward. And then step in with your left into your standing extension. So your hands can be on your shins or the top of your feet, even up above your knees. Just a nice straight back here. Take a breath. Feel the ribs lifting off the hips And then exhale and just melt here into your fold. Really try to focus on not pushing or pulling or forcing this fold. Just allow your body to just relax. Any strong sensations you feel, just breathe into those sensations and rest through them. One more big breath. And bend your knees, lift your gaze, and unhinge. Good job. Good, roll your shoulders. Good, and enjoy a nice deep breath here. And come to prayer. Good, so for those of you who joined us a little bit late, we are focusing on always our balance, strength, and flexibility, but we're turning a little bit of attention to the lower back and releasing the lower back. So that means a lot of folds and a lot of spirals. So at any point, if you need to back off of a pose or not even spiral, that is okay. All right, listen to your back. Go and pull that core in. Very important to keep that tight. Sit into chair, but leave your hands in prayer, please. And now take a breath. You're going to bring your right elbow to your left leg. Good. Now you want to squeeze the legs together and not allow a leg to kick away. Now, if that elbow is too far for you to go, just put your hand on the opposite side of your knee. So that would be your right hand, and you can just come here. Good. Try to find length in your spine here, so you're lifting your ribs off of your hips. Good. Now, a little balance challenge here. Look down at your feet and find your right leg. So it's the leg without the elbow on it, right? Step back into revolve lunge with prayer hands. Now, if you lose your balance, it's okay. Good. Turn towards the floor. Reach out with your hands. Extended lunge. And then a big breath up into high lunge. Take another breath. Now we turn the back foot. So the foot is flat on the floor behind you. And you're going to sit into warrior two. Good. So be sure that your shoulders are right over your hips. We're not leaning forward. We want to focus on the hamstring here, trying to be parallel to the floor. That doesn't mean it has to be, right? There's a little bit of a draw in the pelvis, so we're pulling the pelvis, the hips up toward the rib cage in the front. Good. Take your left hand up, or your front hand. Reach and grab with the other hand. And now just sink here, stretching through the left side of the body. Now be strong through that back leg. You should feel a big stretch in the front of the hip. Straighten your legs for me. And now reach your hip, your top hip away. And over we go into triangle. Make this yours if you need to have a block on the floor, or you can come up to your shin. Good, and rotate toward the top of your mat. Lift your back heel, so you're back into a lunge, and revolve. Good, and just drop your knee. Good, relax the back foot. Now I want you to take this knee If you notice when I'm like this, see I have my hands on either side, I'm going to take my front foot and just heel toe out toward the edge of my mat so that my hands can come on the inside. Right? Good. Now, your instinct is going to be to let the hips pull back, but keep yourself relaxed forward. Good. Now, you can lower yourself down like Courtney is. You can stay up. You can find a block and use that. Good. Now, if you're down on your elbows, go ahead and come up to your hands. I want you to take this foot. We're still going to be on the outside, but just walk it in a tiny bit, maybe just half. And it's just enough so that you can release your hip. And what I've done here is rolled up onto the blade of my foot. So it's like I stepped in gum and now I'm looking at the bottom of my foot. Big hip opener, but I'm still pushing forward into my hip. Now let's add a little bit of motion to this. So roll your foot to flat and then walk back. Someone's pulling on your spine, pulling you backwards. Ah. Now inhale forward, flat-footed, then roll the foot open. Exhale, press your hip forward. Exhale. Inhale, flat foot. Exhale and walk back. Ease it forward and exhale and open. And we go back again. You can point your foot or flex it here, either one. And, ooh, I've got some tight hips today. And back. Last one. Good, now keep your foot rolled open. You can drop to your elbow or stay on your hand. Put your left hand on your left knee and just gently turn here. Now the focus is actually your right hip. Yeah, the one where the knee is on the floor. Relax that hip downward. Good, roll your hip back in. Now all you're gonna do is take that left leg and just push it straight behind you and extend your left leg and your right arm. So we're in extended table here. Good, so this is our strengthening exercise like our bow was on the floor. Now make sure you are not in a bow in your spine like when you're on the floor. So draw your pelvis toward your belly button. Good, now reach back with your right hand or whatever hand was out. Grab your foot. Now roll your shoulders open. Push your foot into your hand. This is where we tend to release the core, so keep your core in. Take a breath for me here and relax your head if you don't lose your balance. Nice stretch for the upper back here. Good, release that, and this time bring your feet and your knees together rather than out wide. If that's not comfortable, take them wider. And we're just gonna relax into this child's pose here and bring our hands by our side. So this one is a little bit more into the back than the hips with the knees narrower. Good, come up onto your shins And go ahead and just kind of walk your knees a little wider, just for your balance there. Good. Push your hips forward. Now turn to your right, like you're going to look behind you. You are looking behind you. You can put your hand on the back of your thigh, your right hand, or you can bring your hand all the way to your heel. Very important, though, that you don't just hang your hand out here. We want to give ourselves permission to relax the front of the body. Good, so we should feel this in the left hip. Good, soften your hips towards your heels and bring yourself back to center. Now you're going to take your left leg out to the side. Good, now make sure that your hip is right over your knee, and make sure that this leg is directly out in line with your hip. Sometimes we take it too far forward. It needs to be in line. Good. Now we're just going to inhale, come over that left leg. Get a sense of pushing your right hip away to the right. This is gate pose. Now you can do like Courtney's doing here, where she's reaching for her shin. You can reach your hand down and open like I'm doing. Just please keep your hand off of your knee. Good, now we're just gonna cartwheel and come all the way, hand to the floor. Now I want you to push your left hip to the ceiling. Yeah, so it's kind of like you're drawing a rainbow with your leg and your arm. So really push in your right hip. Good. Now you need to exhale as you come up. And we're going to go all the way back to gate pose. So now we push the left hip in, reach away with the right. And back over. Make that arc, push in with your right hip, push out with your left. On your exhale, come up. Good. Now, you can put your hands on the floor if you want to. Take your right knee, that's the one you're on, toward the edge of your mat, and let your foot turn centered. Now, push your hip away. Now, the important thing here is to center your body and not let yourself be over your knee. So it's just half of a child's pose or half of a middle split. Good. From here, walk yourself to tabletop. And we're going to lift our left arm way up to the ceiling. Inhale. Now exhale and thread the needle. Good. Now come back all the way up with me and reach up. Same side. Now I'm going to reach diagonally to the outside of my mat. So my left hand has gone to the outside of my mat. I'm going to put my right hand with it, and I'm reaching back into my left hip. So it's an angled child's pose. Good. Come back up. Left hand to the floor. Let's go the other way. Reach up to the right. Big breath and exhale through. Good, come back up with the right hand to the ceiling and then reach across to the outside of your mat and pull back into your right hip. And make your way to your tabletop. Tuck your feet, lift to downward dog. Really try to lengthen out your spine here. And good. Lift your gaze past your hands and bend your knees. So relax down dog. And if you'd like to jump in, you can, or just walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, standing extension. And exhale and fold. Bend your knees. Come all the way up to mountain pose. And take a breath. Exhale into heart center. Good, just take a moment, take 3 long breaths here. And close your eyes if you want to. And we're going to exhale down into prayer and share. Take your left arm, left elbow to your right leg. Revolve lunge with prayer hands. Try to keep those knees in the same plane. So this rib cage is what turns, not the rest of you. Look down at your left leg. Lift the heel. So don't step back until you are ready. That's a surefire way to lose your balance, just stepping back. Now here comes our extended lunge. Reach forward. Yep, rib cage on the leg, strong body here. And up into high lunge. Good, now turn your foot and let the bottom of the foot touch the floor. Your foot is angled there. And find your warrior 2. Pushing that left hip in here or your back hip. Again, find that baby pelvic tuck here, pulling the pelvis toward the belly button. And we're going to inhale with the right arm, grab it with your left, and open that right side of your body as you lift. Feel that left hip pushing in. And now straighten your legs, open up. Now feel the left hip reach for the ceiling. Find your triangle on this side. Good. Soften. Let your heel come back to the ceiling. Revolve your lunge. And then we're just going to drop the knee. Good. Come up to kneeling lunge. Good. Now, here's where we take the foot wider. So I just want to walk my right foot toward the right side of my mat so that I can come to the inside. And don't roll that open yet. Just hold your hips forward here. Good. Focus on keeping your sternum, so your heart pressing forward. It is very easy in this position to kind of squinch your shoulders up towards your head, and then we tuck the chin, and I kind of look rounded like this. And all I'm doing is just tons of tension in my back. I really want to keep everything open. So if you need a block, or even just come up like this, where I've got one elbow on my leg and the other one on the hand on the floor. So I'd rather you not drop as far and keep a good spinal integrity. Good, so now we can back off. Give yourself that release and push it into your back here. Good, and now we're gonna come forward and roll the hip open. So now we stepped in gum on the other foot. This is a pretty intense sensation, so really breathe into this, make it yours, but don't force yourself. I'm very tight today. Usually I can go to my elbows, not today. So you just got to live with where you're at. Good. All right, let's start to move. So we go to flat foot in the front and roll back. Inhale forward. Exhale, roll open. Inhale, go back. Inhale forward, exhale and roll open. Inhale as you go back, exhale when you arrive. And then inhale forward and exhale open. And one more time back. And forward. Good, now you can drop to the elbow or keep your left hand on the floor. Take your right hand to that right knee and look over to that right shoulder or past the shoulder. Your focus here is actually your left hip. Let it relax. Find some deep breaths here. Good, now we take ourselves back. Push your right leg straight back and extend your left arm. On your inhale, reach back with your left hand, grab your right foot. Roll your shoulders first. Push your foot into your hand. Try not to release your core. And if you want to relax the neck, you can. Good, and let that go. You're going to bring your leg to the side and unhinge. Now get yourself positioned here. Make sure that your knee is directly under your hip, so it's stacked. And then you want to make sure that your foot is in line with that hip. Good, inhale. And we exhale toward that extended leg first, gate pose. Again, just stay off of your knee. Focus here on pushing your left hip to the left. And don't forget the right hip. Push the right hip in. And now we go the other way. Hand to the floor. Now just let yourself relax here. Yeah. Push the left hip in. Push the right hip to the ceiling. Now you must come up only on an exhale. And then we go the other way again. And back down. And back up. Good. Now you can set the hands on the floor if you want to. Probably need to. Take your left knee a little wider and let your left foot come centered. And then walk yourself into the center of your body. And then sit back. So if somebody walked up right beside you right now on your left, they would not know that you had a leg extended because you just look like you're in child's pose. And ease that up to tabletop. Now, last time we did a thread the needle and then an angled child's pose. We're just going to reverse the order of those just to work our back a little bit different. So take your left hand off the side of your mat, put your right hand on top, and sit back into your right hip. Now walk yourself to your tabletop and inhale, right arm up. Exhale, push the right shoulder to the floor. Come back to tabletop. Set your right hand off the right side of your mat. Put your left hand on top. Pull back into your left hip. Reset your tabletop. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale through, left shoulder down. And reset your tabletop. And go ahead and walk those knees together if that's comfortable. And relax into this back intent child's pose here. Good. Come up to your shins. Good. Press your hips forward. Good. You can take your knees a little wider. And now we're going to turn to the left to your half camel. And just don't assume this is going to go where the other side went. Take it in its stages. Let your body open. Soften your hips and bring your hands to the floor. Tuck your feet and lift to downward dog. Good. Let your gaze come forward. Bend your knees. Jump or walk into the top of your mat. Inhale, standing extension. And exhale and fold. Bend your knees, lift your gaze, and unhinge. Well done. All right. Take a breath. Just a little bit of a balance challenge here. Since our focus is our back, if you need to grab hold of something, you can. I'm just going to crisscross my fingers, and I'm going to bring my right knee up, and I'm just going to hug my knee into my chest. You can also go under your knee if that's more comfortable. Good, now I'm going to take this lifted leg and cross it, inner thighs touch first in the front. So I want to be really tight in my inner thighs. Inhale up with your right and lean to your left. Squeeze your inner thighs here. Good, and come around, reset, get your balance, and we find the other side. Squeeze the inner thighs first, and we'll lean to our right. Good, reset your mountain pose. Little baby back bend here. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, standing extension. And now exhale and fold. So just take some time here to think about when you started today and where you are now. You should feel like you're folding a little bit further. Good, keep your hands on the floor, and or if they're not there, bring them there. Walk your feet out. Now just drop into your hips. Now, if you cannot get your heels flat to the ground, step one is to just get your legs wider. Sometimes that's all that it takes. Our feet are just too narrow and we wind up with our heels up. If that still is not comfortable, or if your heels are down, but wow, that really hurts your knees, stay on your hands, and it's okay if your heels come up. And I'm just gonna lean my body into the back of my arms here. So that's just a nice, safe alternative to this garland pose. Now your feet might not be turned out as wide. Your feet might be more forward. It's really dependent on your bone structure. I kind of have a natural turnout, so that's why I was good at swimming. But if you can, just find some shoulder rolls here and let yourself just lengthen your spine here. Feel like your tailbone is dropping toward the floor. Little squeeze in the back of your shoulder blades just to press your heart into your thumbs. Good. From here, hands to the floor, and up we go into just a little fold here to shake it out. Good. And now we're going to come to seated. However that happens. Good. Now we're going to repeat the hold of our leg that we just did. Only now we're going back. So go ahead and grab your right leg. Oh, this is easier. Now, I want you to focus on the leg that you are not squeezing. So keep your leg that's on the floor, press it to the floor, and feel that big stretch in your hip flexor. Good, now take your leg that you're holding and set your foot on your quad. So I'm putting my right heel on my left quad. I'm gonna reach across my left hand to my right leg and just gently pull over to the side. Keep your right shoulder on the floor. Good. Roll to your back. Straighten your legs. Reach your arms up. Take a breath. Exhale and roll yourself all the way to seated. Inhale up. Exhale, fold forward. And now we sit up and we grab the left knee. Find your posture. Keep your right leg pressed to the floor. And now we set our left foot on the right quad. Reach across with your right hand to the outside of your left leg. Pull your body open. Again, don't force anything. Think about keeping your left shoulder on the floor. Roll onto your back, straighten your legs, reach your arms up. Exhale, curl all the way up, keeping your feet down. Inhale up, and exhale, fold forward. Good, sit yourself up. And this time, grab both legs, come back. Good, now set your feet on the floor. Hands can go by your side. And exhale up into a bridge. If you want to help yourself with the bridge, leave your elbows on the floor and just set your hands on your hips. Give yourself a little extra lift. Good, now release that. Good, now I want you to take your hands to the inside of your knees, lift your feet. Now you got two choices. You can grab the arches of your feet or try to reach past your shins to the outside of your feet. And we are gonna relax here and happy baby. You can rock that happy baby if you'd like. Just focus on your breath here for a moment. Take 3 long breaths all the way into that space between your belly button and your spine. And your feet are going to come together. Let them down into reclined bound pose. Just relax your hands by your side, or you can put them on your belly. Good. From here, you're going to lift your knees and you're going to walk your feet to the edges of your mat so that your knees can kind of fall together, but not yet. Just like windshield wipers with your shins. Just let your legs go from side to side. God bless you. And then you can let your knees fall together. Or just relax open into your rest pose. Take some long, deep breaths. Really feel like you're actually arriving at this pose. Take a few moments to notice your breath. Let's see if you can make your inhale match your exhale. Notice the softness in your jaw. Feel the muscles of your face smooth. Notice your back melting into the floor. Feel the softness in your hips as your glutes release. And really take a breath all the way down to your lower back and let it out like a sigh. Notice the heaviness in your arms and legs. Begin to feel your body in contact with the floor. Find some movement and wiggle your fingers and toes. And because we worked so much back today and really stretched, I want you to make it a priority to keep your body soft as you roll to one side. And really try to use your arms and keep your back relaxed as you sit yourself up. And just drop one ear to shoulder. And go the other way. Drop your chin to your heart. And bring the hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale, push the room away. Give yourself a nice shoulder roll here. And inhale up. And bring your hands back to prayer. Take a breath. Let it out. And God bless you guys. Namaste. Have a great Friday. Bye, guys. We will see you on Monday at 9:30. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Mother's Day. Oh, excuse me. Happy Mother's Day to all of you. Love you guys.
Thank you, Miss Kelly. Happy Mother's Day to you too.
Thank you, ma'am.